Hello everybody, I'm Joe Parker and welcome to the March 2021 update for my Monument City Terminal Division layout. A lot's changed since my last video and I'm long overdue for a video showing what we've been working on. We'll start at the Conrail Boston Street staging yard. Here we have a local freight WHBA 15 finished with its work on Boston Street in Baltimore and ready to return to the yard. It crosses over the Eastern Avenue overpass before it enters the new temporary staging yard. This entrance to the yard is built on a hollow core door attached to the wall with brackets. The thin profile of the hollow core door allows me to have my spray booth, which also rests on a door, underneath. This staging yard was built so that we'd be able to operate more efficiently. During operating sessions, we work this as a fiddle yard. I'll be expanding the layout soon, and once I do, this area will become scenic. But for now, I wanted a place where we could stage trains. In addition to the 4 yard tracks, there's a return loop that, when used in conjunction with the consolidated coal loop, can be used to break in locomotives. In addition to the scenery, eventually there'll be backdrop images in this area to hide these access panels. They were necessary to allow us to get to the plumbing and cleanout valves in the event of an emergency. I've hosted 2 operating sessions so far, and the yard seems to be working out pretty well. In fact, we had an operating session on the weekend before this video was filmed. As a result, many of the cars currently on the layout aren't weathered yet. In an effort to get as many cars ready for operations as I could, a lot of them went into service before I could weather them. So for now, the Conrail train comes around the loop and will park on staging track 1. We'll now deliver some auto racks to the loading tracks in Penn Mary yard. Our train moves slowly out of the staging yard and once again crosses the Eastern Avenue overpass. On the other side of the overpass is Cambridge Iron and Metal. As you can see here, I've got some mock-ups to try and figure out how to best lay out the structures in that area. My plan is to use the large square structure and the silos represented by paint cans here to hide the relatively sharp curve. Without this view block, long cars like the auto racks just don't look right on the curve. For comparison purposes, the spot where Cambridge Iron and Metal now sits used to be the eastern end of the layout before I added the staging yard. Passing the scrapyard, the train enters the area that I'm calling Coal Junction. There's a lot going on in this very compact area. In addition to access to the scrapyard, from here tracks diverge to the consolidated coal loop in the background, to the Bethlehem steel lead track, as well as the split that leads to the Canton yard. While not prototypical, I felt that with so many switches in a small area, it would have warranted an interlocking tower, so CJ Tower will soon guard this junction. Behind the train is the consolidated coal loop in the background. I'm experimenting with some forced perspective here, as you can see with the N-scale size backdrop building on the wall. Next, the train crosses South Newkirk Street. I've added some foreground structures here. The small industry on the right was built a number of years ago, while the restaurant on the left-hand side is a new structure that will eventually have a detailed interior and lighting. Behind this will be some other structures including a Quonset hut and a parking area for trailers. As the train approaches the Penn Mary yard, it crosses under 2 highway bridges. Construction has just begun for the Interstate 895 overpass, while the Interstate 95 bridge will come later, just as it did in real life. The track you see on the right-hand side where the GP15T is waiting for clearance is the lead to Bethlehem Steel. The auto rack train stops short of the yard so that the power can cut off, run around the train, and push the auto racks into the yard. Meanwhile, the GM plant switching job is finishing up. Since the last update video, the General Motors factory has progressed nicely, although there's still a lot of work to be done. I've also added a guard shack with an interior and interior lights. The lights on the poles outside the guard shack also light up, and the interior of the General Motors plant is lit as well. Work is also underway on the loading docks inside the plant. When complete, you'll be able to look inside and see a detailed scene inside the building. It's amazing what you can see when you put the camera down at scale level. From the bird's eye view that you get standing over the layout, the parking lot surface looks pretty flat. While making this video, though, I discovered the bubbles in the parking lot that I'll need to take care of. Since the last update video, I've also added the Keith Street overpass. It still doesn't have a completed road surface, as you can see here. I've also done some scenic work underneath the Keith Street overpass in this triangular area and added a photo backdrop underneath the overpass. To support operations in this area, as well as other areas on the layout, I've added car card boxes and track diagrams to the fascia. These allow operators to understand the track layout at each location and where to deliver specific cars. My car cart system's a work in progress, as are the track diagrams. While the General Motors job finishes up, the auto rack train is shoving cars into the yard. For more details on how this works during an operating session, see the March 2019 layout update video. Once the auto racks are delivered, this power will pick up the empty auto parts cars that were pulled out of the plant from the previous shift, tack on their caboose, and head back to Bayview Yard. I hope you've enjoyed this view of the progress that's been made on the layout. If you have any questions or suggestions, include them in the comments below. Please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new additions, and click on the bell to be notified when new content is available. Thank you so much for visiting, and I hope you'll meet me next time in the train room.
Woo!